St. Crescent, Westmoreland residents protest over fatal police shooting. There was a tense standoff between the police and residents of St. Crescent in Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland, as they protested the fatal shooting of one of their own during an alleged confrontation with cops. The deceased has been identified as Devswan Montague, a former Godfrey Stewart High School footballer. The incident happened shortly after 1 p.m. Residents contended that a police team kicked in the door to his house, and shortly after, 3 shots were heard. When them drag him out, the man was only in him underpants. His 3 shots we hear, and his 3 shots him get. So how them a go see a shootout? Stated a resident. Desmond was a quiet, easygoing youth. He was never ever in trouble with the law. So I want to see how the police going to explain this, the resident added. Because we are protest, the police them come tear gas we, but we want justice. Them just can't walk around and kill people like that. We have to bawl out about it. Efforts to contact the Savannah Lamar police were unsuccessful. No place for absenteeism lateness. Robert Morgan and Philip Powell have sent a firm message to members of Parliament. Absenteeism and consistent lateness will not be tolerated when the new legislative year opens. Morgan, Deputy Leader of Government Business in the House, and Powell, Leader of Opposition Business, made the point jointly, known in an interview with journalists after the opening ceremony for the orientation of members of Parliament on Tuesday at Garden House. For years, absenteeism has been a sore subject in Jamaican politics, with critics pointing to rows of empty seats during debates and thinly attended committee meetings. Committees, in particular, are often described as the engine room of parliamentary work, where legislation is examined in detail and government spending is scrutinized. Yet, past reports have shown that some members rarely appear, raising questions about whether the nation lawmakers are fulfilling their duties. But Powell said the opposition had agreed to make punctuality and consistent attendance a priority in the new term. As part of my own orientation with my members, we made that point absolutely clear. We are not going to be tolerating absenteeism. In fact, we are insisting on punctuality. So we're going to find in some score of opposition members that we're going to be here on time and we're going to be here in good numbers. And very importantly, in relation to the oversight committees, we intend to be very active and vigorous, stated Paulwell. Morgan echoed the sentiment, acknowledging that attendance had fallen short in the past, but experiencing optimism that the situation would change in this cycle. There's always room for improvement. We know that there are some members who did not attend as much as they should, but I think we're turning a new leaf. It's a new parliamentary group. Everyone has been renewed in their mandate, so there will be efforts, he noted. In the meantime, Powell highlighted concern over the public's limited engagement with the parliamentary meetings, noting that he hopes to see improvement in this area during the current term. People need to watch the parliament, and we have to find a way to make it far more interesting because people believe that it's boring or that we're fighting each other inside and not conducting the business as we should. So I'm hoping that as we start this new term, there will be that education that will take place, and that even when we get up to speak, sometimes we must remember that there's a public out there who needs the explanation, he noted. Morgan also stressed the importance of public participation, acknowledged that while some Jamaicans may be discouraged by heated debates, such exchanges stem from passion rather than hostility. I think there have been occasions where persons in the public may misunderstand the robustness of debate. Sometimes the parliamentarians go too far, we admit that. But this is the business of the country. This is the most important deliberative body in the country. The laws that are passed here impact the lives of every single Jamaican, even Jamaicans who don't live in Jamaica. So there'll be passion ignite at times. There'll be strong, aggressive approaches by both sides in defense of whatever objection they have. And I think that's something that we need to understand, Morgan noted. He added that the public should understand that strong debate isn't the same as conflict, and that he, House Leader Floyd Green, and Paulwell are working to ensure discussions are managed so that public can see and appreciate the parliamentary proceedings. CPFSA opens 2 new child-friendly spaces in St. Anne and St. James. The Child Protection and Family Services Agency has opened 2 new child-friendly spaces. The new environments for children experiencing traumatic situations are located at the agency's St. Anne and St. James Parish offices. The additions, located at 8 Park Avenue, St. Anne's Bay, and Falkirk Crescent, Montego Bay respectively, bring to 5 the number of dedicated spaces now available to support children across the island. Child-friendly spaces are specifically designed rooms that provide children in crisis situations with a safe, nurturing, and stimulating environment. These spaces allow children to cope with stress, play, learn, and connect with peers and support services, while also offering psychosocial support, recreation, and provide vital links to care and protection services. Chief Executive Officer of the CPFSA, Laurette Adams Thomas, said the new space marked another step forward in strengthening Jamaica's child protection framework. She added that the agency remains committed to widening the reach of these spaces. The CEO explained that these spaces are not limited to children in state care.
These spaces are far more than rooms with toys and books. They are intentional environments that allow children to feel safe, respected, and supported, particularly when they are experiencing difficult circumstances. Every child who interacts with our services deserves to do so in a setting that honors their dignity and supports their healing. Our vision is to see every parish equipped with at least one child-friendly space. We are steadily working towards this goal, ensuring that more children have access to environments where they can process their experiences in comfort and with professional support. These facilities are for any child who comes into contact with the CPFSA, whether they are involved in legal proceedings, investigations, or simply require psychosocial support. We want to ensure that they have a safe and child-centered space to rely on. When children are interviewed in a child-friendly environment, they are better able to express themselves and to share their experiences. The design of these spaces reduces anxiety, it facilitates trust building, and it supports children's emotional well-being. From a psychosocial perspective, this is invaluable in helping children to cope with trauma and to begin their journey of recovery.
Maitland asked to review surveillance footage from own apartment. A CCTV technician testified on Monday that Constable Maitland had asked to review surveillance footage from his Chelsea Manor apartment in Kingston to determine whether a woman was seen leaving the premises between 11 a.m. and midday on July 12, 2022. According to the technician's statement, which was read into evidence in the Home Circuit Court, he questioned Maitland about the specific time frame but could not recall the officer's exact response. "But I recall him saying he was sleeping when she left," the technician added. The technician, who had installed the CCTV cameras at the apartment for Maitland's neighbor, said the constable claimed he wanted to check the footage because a syringe has gone missing. He said Maitland came to view the footage on July 14. At the time, he was unaware that the missing woman was Donnelly Donaldson, Maitland's 24-year-old girlfriend. Donaldson, a social media personality and customer service representative, was reported missing on July 13. She left her home on July 11 with Maitland and last spoke to relatives on July 12 while at his apartment. Donaldson's mother testified that she had spoken to her on the morning of July 12, while her brother said he had FaceTime with her briefly at 4:56 and that she was still at the apartment. Maitland is currently on trial for the murder and preventing the burial of a corpse in connection with Donaldson's presumed death. The technician said that while reviewing footage on July 14, he observed Maitland driving out of the complex about 2 p.m. on July 12. Early in the trial, Maitland's neighbor testified that the constable appeared visibly anxious and pressured him to delete surveillance footage, showing Maitland entering the apartment complex twice between July 11 and 12, once with a woman and later alone. He seemed worried. He seemed to have great concentration, the neighbor testified, adding that Mason said he was undergoing a promotion evaluation and didn't want footage of him smoking a spliff to raise red flag during the background checks. The neighbor said he refused to comply with the request, calling it inappropriate. The CCTV technician's statement said that the five read into the evidence by the agreed between the defense and prosecution. Another statement from a detective sergeant revealed that a sofa was seized from Maitland's apartment on July 21 after it had been taken to a Kingston car wash and powered wash. A worker reportedly seen what looks like blood like rice grain oozing from the furniture when it was brought there by Maitland on July 13. Other witness statements including that if an officer who had transported a forensic team to and from the Institute of Legal Medical and Science to Maitland's apartment, as well as a police officer who had gone in part of the team that accompanied a truck driver to the car wash. Earlier in the morning session, a detective sergeant testified that on July 27, 2022, he visited the law office of Kingston of Christopher Towson, where he arrested Mason, who, when cautioned for murder, reportedly stated Jaja. Towson, while cross-examining the witness, suggested that his client was never cautioned and did not utter those words. However, the witness insists that he had. The officer further testified that during the arrest, he seized a bang of phone belonging to Maitland that had been reportedly taken from his father, who was present. To subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.